Welcome to Offsite Dirt, the podcast committed to news and insight in the offsite construction industry. Join our team of experts covering modern methods of construction, high-performance build, lean manufacturing, prefab, and beyond. Here's the dirt on Offsite Dirt. We would like to thank our partner, Wesco, for being our official Offsite Dirt sponsor.
We provide innovative supply chain solutions every hour, every day, all around the globe. Our people roll up their sleeves and help create a world you can depend on. Focusing on the details, the challenges, and the unexpected, so that you can live life uninterrupted. Wesco. Ingenuity delivered.
Hello, and we are back on Offsite Dirt, excited to talk to Construct, and it's Construction Reimagined. We are with Rob, the CEO of the company, and Rob has this really interesting background because he's been for 12 years, spanning about 12 years with Milwaukee Tools. He has realized the impact of lack of skilled labor on construction. He's kind of like the scientist that has studied the industry and now has created this intuitive building system that really is changing the way that we look at construction. Rob, it's so nice to see you. How have you been?
I've been great. Thank you for having me.
It's certainly wonderful for you to be here. I feel like our paths have crossed for a reason, and I'm excited to hear about your story and why you guys are doing things different with your building company. Can you just give us, I know I briefly talked a little bit about you, but there's no way to describe yourself better than having you give us a little bit more insight into your background and the curiosity behind creating this company.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to back up a little bit, I am not the CEO. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. Our CEO is really the founder of this technology. His name's Nicholas Godfrey. He's my business partner, and he's a little bit of a mad scientist and part artist. And in years ago, about 2017, he realized that construction just it needs to change. He had a lot of experience with CNC routers and making everything from cabinets to wall panels to pretty much anything that you can design on a computer and cut on a machine, and just realized that this is something that a tool that should be used to build houses. So he set about just pioneering it and building in trial and error, and building small models, and it grew and grew, and they happened to be building a house down the road from where I live, and I saw it, and being with my background at Milwaukee, like we focused a lot on the skilled trades, and we knew that that there's just more people leaving the industry than entering it. And so I was very familiar with the problem. And when I saw this, I pulled over, and and Nicholas happened to be there, and he started explaining to me what was going on. And I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. This is it's the right application of technology to the right problem, and done right, this could really be a game changer. And so construction is really, we're not trying to solve the whole problem. We're really just trying to address a small part of it, which is the framing. And we feel if you can start with a perfectly square, perfectly straight frame that's predictable and stronger and sturdier than traditional framing, then that there's a market and a need for that. So you coupled that with just the simplicity of it, and it's designed to where it's pretty highly intuitive, almost like an IKEA furniture kit or Legos for adults, where you don't have to know how to operate a saw or a tape measure or big nail guns, and you can just look at instructions, step-by-step instructions, and put pieces into place, and then a few days later you have a house. So that's how I got involved. That's been, about 18 months ago. We since then have built about 12 homes. We have a portfolio of designs that range from like a small ADU up to a townhome or a duplex. So, and kind of try to cover everything in between. But where we really are focusing our efforts are on below 2,000 square feet in areas that traditional large builders don't. Um, they tend to want to be higher square footage just to have to hit their margin requirements. So you see a real need in these smaller homes, and we're also learning that for homes to be affordable, with the current market conditions, a lot of times that translates to size. And homes are, we've seen the first time in a long time that the average square footage of a house is actually decreasing. So we feel that there's a trend in that direction, and I think we are focusing on trying to provide value and true cost savings solution in that area.
So it's almost like a panelized system, it sounds like to me, right? Where you're making these framing systems, panelized system, and providing it so there is more efficiency in the build process. And it also sounds like to me, you also have different pre-designed plan sets, right?
Yeah, and it really we're kind of a hybrid system. What we
Okay,
do doesn't really exist. We're not modular,
yep.
we're not stick built, and we're not prefabricated. We're really kind of a hybrid system that we're still considered site built, stick built, but our panels are much smaller blocks. We're not putting up entire walls, so we have what we found, with being able to do this in smaller pieces is one, you don't need heavy equipment to raise these panels. You need two people each. The heaviest one's probably 80 pounds, and by keeping them small, we were able to kind of maintain the design that architects send to us. So we have up to 2 foot overhangs, dormers, hip roofs, you know exposed rafter tails. There's a lot of flexibility in our design just because our pieces are smaller. So when you get one of our framing kits, it's about an 1,800 square foot house is about a 500 piece puzzle. And as you average probably 60 to 80 pieces a day. So 6, 7 days later, you've put the whole puzzle together, and it forms a house. So we're still from a code compliance and inspection process, we are considered site built, stick built. But you're kind of the best of both worlds. You get the precision of being built in a factory, and the consistent lead times, and zero waste on the job site. So you get all of the benefits of both worlds. So it's kind of like I said, it's a hybrid approach.
I like that. And we can almost call it a prefab approach, right? Because you guys are prefabricating these things inside the factory or your facility and then bringing them to site. So when you guys started this company 18 months ago, and thank you for correcting me, I had no idea that Neil was the president. I would never want to not take that glory away from him, but
That's
I'm glad that
that's
you,
fine.
I definitely glad you clarified that.
I,
But anyway, Rob, when we're talking about, the solutions that have a lower change curve, what are we really talking about here?
I think with builders, they're a and I dealt with it all through the trades. Like, we're creatures of habit, and we've done things the same way for so long, and to change that and try something new, is there's a lot of education involved, and you've got to prove it. So we look at it as the more you try to change, the steeper the curve is. And that's why I think, you know, modular, which is gaining a ton of traction, is still has a lot of resistance to a lot of builders. They're like, I don't want to do that. I can't do this.
It's
I can't
fair,
do
right?
that.
Everyone's like, that's gonna take all these jobs, it's gonna do all this stuff. So it's nice that you guys, like you said, have this hybrid or this prefab approach where they can actually learn it and it's a simple system, right?
Yeah, and we talk a lot about, trying not to be, layer new on top of new. And we feel that we have a great value proposition for the framing, and that's our core competency. And the builders, they get it. They're like, oh, no mistakes. It's precise. My windows fit perfect. My doors fit perfect. It's everything's open to for the trades to run, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So to us, it's a lower adoption curve. We feel that builders will adopt, we're just changing the framing. We're not trying to change everything. And so we also realize that builders have preferences. They want different mechanical systems. They have different window preferences depending on region to region, and then within those regions, everybody's got a preference. So the trying not to throw too many new things at once, we feel is an easier path to adoption.
I agree with you. And I think it's wonderful that you're having this great success because again, what you're doing is increasing productivity by
Right.
able to have these kind of solutions. And again, I love that this is built in a facility where you're not getting rain and snow, that's impacting you and people that can't come to the site. You can do it all in, like you said, several days instead of several months. And it's making the solution so much easier for the builder to be able to pick up a new process. And there is a lot of fear, right? There's a lot of fear around taking jobs away. And there's a lot of fear about how much more of an increase is this going to be. Like everything is so compromised right now and it's so fragmented. So there's not a lot of trust partners, but it seems like this could be an easy way to find trust. And then also, like you were saying, also kind of help the skilled labor and help those individuals to go through a process that's much quicker and faster, right?
Right. Yeah, and some of it comes down even to the material. I mean, our structures are 100%, made of 3/4 inch Advantech at the moment, and builders recognize Advantech and the Huber product as being, top of the line quality. Like when they see that, wow, this is built out of Advantech, they know that, there's a 500-day, no sand guarantee to being exposed to the rain. You don't have any, edge swelling. You don't, it's termite resistant. It's squeak free. So we're using the premium material in this, and builders recognize that quality, and you can tell when you walk into one of our structures. They're very stout and sturdy, and just the sound that goes away. I mean, for example, we have 8-inch thick walls. So we design these structures. We kind of take a play out of the aerospace industry and really timber framing, before that, where we build, these frames where your floor beam, your wall, your roof, it's all one big ring. So it's like the whole house is one truss, and then the middle gets filled in. So it's all just interlocked together. So there's no, shifting of anything or and it's great in, we're in Charleston, South Carolina, and we have, hurricanes, and so as far as, having like a roof attached to a wall system with hurricane clips that could, blow off and everything kind of implodes. Like this is all like a 6-sided box that when that last piece puts in, it locks it all together. So we're getting extraordinarily, high wind ratings. We're at, over 200 mile an hour, and which is, it's tough to get in stick frame. You can do it. You can build a house that way, but
Yeah,
it's costly.
absolutely. Hmm.
So
But to be
it's
able to claim it, right, and know that that is actually happening is a whole different conversation.
right. Yeah.
Hmm. So how are you seeing like the next generation of digital builders? Obviously, this has digital influence into it. You guys are creating this product that has small tolerances and design. So where do you vision that? How does the next generation look to you?
I think it's almost the gamification of construction, and the
Mhm.
next generation of for every 7 contractors that leave, one enters, right? And they're young. They've um, you know fewer and fewer are leaving with the skill set of knowing how to frame a house and knowing what to look for, and being able to do it. And they rely on the subcontractor to do a good job, but they themselves don't know. I've got a 17-year-old son that I don't dare turn him loose with a stack of lumber and a saw. I caught him reading a tape measure the other day from 4 feet away, and I'm like, oh no. So they're used to building on games like Minecraft
Yes, yeah.
building digitally, and understanding how blocks go together.
Hmm.
And on Minecraft, they fit. You get them close, and they just like they go
Right,
into
they just
place,
pop
right?
right in. Hmm.
Right. So that's really kind of how this is they understand. They're more comfortable in CAD and looking at a CAD model and making an adjustment to a design than traditional drafting. So we feel the next generation there's going to be a shift because of the loss of the skill. So this kind of takes a worry out of the next generation of contractors. Like, they get to their first critical path and have a high certainty of outcome on the frame. So from there, it's if you start with that good solid square sturdy straight frame, then it makes all the other aspects that come after it much easier.
I agree. It's so funny that you talk about your son because my son also, actually this last year, he started doing construction. And it's really hard. It's really hard, Mom. There's really hard work that has to go into it. And, he's got to check this and he's got to make sure this is, and it's so funny because it makes me kind of happy that he's learning it and he's going through all these different processes and getting taught by someone else because parents can't tell their kids anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it
Right.
comes to this is a really good skill set. Like your entire life to be able to build or construct or to create like this will impact your whole life, right? You'll always have something that you're going to build or something that needs to be fixed. And so if you could take care of yourself and you can learn these skill sets, they're really so important. But I agree with you because
Yeah.
he's so
It's
big gamer, right? He's this huge gamer. And so all he sees, Rob, is Minecraft and these things where it's simple building blocks. And so it makes sense. And they could sit there for hours, just like building these cities and stuff. So
yeah.
I agree with you.
And we're I think every generation, you think, it's, gosh, this has got to be easy. I remember, as a kid, just having to chop wood. Now I have a log
Yeah, that
splitter, and
doesn't,
all
will
my
you
all
do
my
that?
friends have log splitters, right? We cut it, and,
Yeah.
and they're like, wow, and none of us have herniated discs and all that. So it's always that thinking of, gosh, this has got to be easier. There's got to be an easier way, and a more efficient way. Like, I think the beyond just the simplicity, it's just the speed. And we
Mhm.
can't build enough homes. Like,
No.
there's a shortage, and we just can't build enough homes. So if we want to offer builders a way to build more homes, and to do more starts, they have to be able to do them faster without any rework. So it's a speed thing as well, that
Yeah,
contributes to
it's
this.
definitely creating a solution for sure. And it's nice to see. I feel like you guys are kind of in your own category. I haven't seen too many companies that are doing what you're doing. And I love that you're in Charleston, South Carolina. It's one of my favorite cities.
Yeah,
I
we
love
chose the hardest place to do this. We've got high humidity,
doing it all.
storms, lots of rain. So this has been a great proving ground, and So we're like, if we can build in Charleston, poor soils, you name it.
Right?
We have seismic here.
Termites, we
Uh,
have bugs everywhere.
oh gosh, yeah, yeah. We up until we were just working on a house, and we had to have a couple little campfires going just to keep the bugs off of us to working
The
on the
gnats and stuff. Oh,
yeah,
I know. It's
yeah.
so lovely. It's so great.
Um,
The people in like the West Coast and like all my friends from Colorado, I remember living there too. I was like, gosh, there was never really any bugs. It's so amazing. But being here, I love the moisture and I love like that. I don't know. I feel like it makes us healthier because we're constantly like sweating and and our pores are opening and all this good stuff is happening. And there it's very, very dry. And I love that too. But there's just something about the South. There is.
yeah, yeah. More more laundry, it change shirts a couple times a day here this time of year.
That's true.
Um,
Very true. So where do you see the company going in the next year? Do you guys have any big projects coming up? Are you still kind of moving your way through the market? Are you looking at different states that you're going to be taking projects in? And where are you currently doing projects? Just in South Carolina?
no, so the first, like I said, Nicholas has been working on this for over a decade, and we spent the last 18 months finalizing our initial portfolio of designs, working on our build guides, our construction guides, making sure that the experience for the builder is easy, and that this goes together like we say it does. So working out all the kinks, making the videos on the how-tos, and building out a library of or a portfolio of different parts that can be interchanged. So we now we also in the beginning to do that, we were doing the manufacturing in-house, like in our small shop, just to um we needed to develop the build guides, how to turn these cut parts into boxes and document that. And so we were essentially our own customer. We've made the pivot now to contract manufacturing, and what we found is the equipment needed for what we do is not it's not like super complicated. It's a CNC router, and there's cabinet shops, there's American furniture manufacturers, there's people that cut all kinds of stuff. So this equipment is readily available all across the country, and it's underutilized. So we have developed a network of factories across the country that can produce at scale. We're licensed in 33 states now, in counting. So our only as we get a project in a state, we'll, if it makes sense, we'll get a license there, so that we can, do the engineered stamp drawings to submit. So we have projects in Maine, in Texas, in Florida, in Georgia, South Carolina. We're hoping to ship our first structure to Los Angeles. We've got the demand is global. I mean, there are solutions. We were just at an event, and met with some delegation from the Ukraine, and they need to rebuild entire cities over there fast. And Dominica, same thing. So we want to be a global company. We can manufacture in the U.S. and Canada, and then hopefully license the technology to other areas that need it. So the model is, you don't need you don't need to invest in a massive mega factory to build your one thing. We feel scale faster by utilizing existing infrastructure, and then be able to scale internationally, um, just simply by providing designs and cut files, and
I love that.
instructions.
I think that's a really brilliant way to do business, especially in construction. It's wonderful. And it's great to see the expansion, and it's great to see your innovation into doing something that can completely help us to get to these homes designs faster. Thank you so much, Rob, for being here. It was so nice having you and learning more about Construct.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
And
Look forward
there's
to getting you out to visit one of our builds.
I want to come visit one of your builds next time you guys are in South Carolina. I mean, in Charleston, you better look me up because I will definitely make the trip. It's only like 2 hours from here, from Georgia,
Oh,
Savannah.
we are starting one that's probably my favorite one. It overlooks this beautiful marsh, and it's like 30 feet on the front wall and a single slope that's
Wow.
elevated, and it's going to be it's the one we probably get the most inquiries about through the website.
Very cool. Well, you have to just tell me when I can make it out there and I'll try to make it out there to see it. That would be very exciting. I
Yeah,
love seeing
perfect.
things in person. It makes it so much more real, right? To be able to actually take video and actually see it instead of
Yeah.
always on Zoom. It makes it so much better. But I do appreciate it, Rob, and you've been so nice and so kind with connecting and making sure that we get to see this product. I think it's going to definitely change the way that we build. So very exciting. Thank you for being here on Offsite Dirt.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
Have a great
afternoon.
day. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being here. And that's the dirt on Offsite Dirt.